Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the 10th lecture of computer programming for civil engineers. And in today's lecture, we are going to get introduced with Microsoft Word and PowerPoint for civil engineers, the documentation work and PowerPoint presentation are very important tools of communication for civil engineers. Whatever projects or work civil engineers do, they need to document it, so they should know some skills of Microsoft Word or similar software. And once they have documented it, they sometimes they need to present it to a group of people or experts. So it is vital to know how to create PowerPoint slides that can help in presenting your work professionally. So we'll carry on with the same example we used for Microsoft Excel of the design of a lintel beam. So imagine that in an office environment, you have been given a task to design this beam and you used Microsoft Excel to do so. Uh, we considered this beam as a simply supported beam, and we have already used Excel to draw its bending moment diagram and then shear force diagram. And then once we have it, we used the maximum bending moment out from it to design this beam, which means to find out the number of steel bars required to resist tension at the bottom side of this lintel beam. And we used a very basic formula for design purpose, and we used some design code and industry standards together to came up to the final design solution for this beam. So with the help of the same example, today we are going to first of all create a report in Microsoft Word, and with that we will learn how to do different tasks in Microsoft Word, and then we will use the same example to present it to someone. And in order to create that presentation, all the activities we do will help us in learning how to work in Microsoft PowerPoint. So let's start with Microsoft Word first of all. So I'm going to go in the search and write Word and run Microsoft Word for me. You can start with a blank document, but then you can also use some already built templates. But because we are learning the basics, so let's start everything from scratch. So I click on blank document, and this is what we get at the end. Now here is a button to show different levels of toolbars and menu on the top. So currently I'm at an auto hide ribbon. If you want to show tabs, so currently I am in just show tabs. So we can see these tabs here. If you click any of them, it will show the menu panel to us. If you now click outside, the menu will disappear, but if you want it to be permanently visible, you can click show tabs and commands, so it will keep appearing throughout your work, whatever you will do. And if you auto hide ribbon, then it will be a blank screen for working. If you're not using tools too much, this is a perfect environment. But if you are regularly formatting your document, it's better to keep that bar on the top. So you can click this to show the bar, but when you're working, it is invisible. So for now, let me show all tabs. So as we have done the design of this beam, let's document it in Microsoft Word. So I'm writing the title project colon lintel beam design, and if you want to bring it in the center, you can use this paragraph tab to select to keep your cursor on a line, and you can click on center to center it, or you can change its justification to right and left if you want, or if you want to be fully justified throughout this line, throughout the paragraph. If it is a complete paragraph, you can use that option as well, but for now let's keep it at the center. If you select it, you see a menu appears that can give you an opportunity to use commonly used tools for formatting a document. For example, if you want, you can bold it, you can increase the size of the title, and you can change the font as well if you like. You can make it italic or underline from here as well. And it's always handy to remember or memorize the shortcuts for doing so. So if you select a text and press Ctrl and B together, it will bold or unbold your text. If you press Ctrl U, it will underline your text. And if you use Ctrl I, it will italicize your text. So for now, let's keep it italic, underlined and bold for the title of this project, of this report. Now if you are at a formatted line, if you press enter and you write something, you will see that same font, same format is being used. But you can always select and change format as we discussed earlier. Another useful tool is to create a sentence case. For example, if you want everything to be uppercase, every word of a sentence to be capitalized, so you can do that as well. But for now, let me use sentence case. You will also notice that in Microsoft Word, you have a style section where already existing styles for different elements of a document are available. And if you click on this drop down, you can see multiple other styles are available, which are pre-formatted for special purpose. For example, heading 1, heading 2, title, and so on. So for now, let's, for the title, use the title, and for this part, let's keep it normal. Now if you don't like this style and you want to change the title styles, you can, for example, bold this and maybe italicize this. Once you have changed the format of this text, you can always click on the style, right click on the style and select modify, and select update title to match selection. Now you will notice that this style is changed to your own preference. Maybe in your office you use this style. So now whenever you write anything else and you select that to apply this style, then your own choice of style will get applied all the time. It is always very useful to use styles for formatting your document. For now, let me use normal font for this and capitalize every word for this section. I select all and press Ctrl E to center justify it, which can also be done by clicking this. Ctrl L for left justification and Ctrl R for right justification. Let me click on this line and Ctrl E to center it and select all and press Ctrl close box bracket to increase the size or Ctrl open box bracket to reduce the size of the font. Now I bring it at the end of this page by pressing enter behind it. and we can see the shape of the first title page for us. We can change the size of the paper from the layout by clicking the size and select the size we commonly use in our office. For example, a letter size is much wider but smaller than A4, and legal size is much longer than the A4 standard size we commonly use in offices. But let's use A4, which is most commonly used. Now let's bring an image in the center. For example, I go in Microsoft, from my other document, I select this image and right click and copy it and go in the other document and press Ctrl V to bring this image here. I can increase its size by clicking here. If its orientation is wrong, I can also rotate it to any angle I want as well. But for now, let me keep it like this. Now you will notice if you drag it and move it on the text, it keep moving the text for us, which we may like that it is not overlapping the text. But somehow, if you want it not to disturb the text, you can select this image, click on the picture format tab, and in the wrap text, select in front of text. So now once you will move it, you will see that it is in front of text. But if you keep selecting it and click on behind text, now you will see it will appear as a watermark behind this text. There are many similar options available here. If you don't want a portion of this image to be visible, you can click on this image, click on the picture format tab again, and then click on the crop option with the new handles around. For example, with the bottom handle, if you drag it, this will hide the lower portion of this drawing, and if you click outside, you will see that will disappear. But then it can be undone by clicking the image, clicking on the picture format tab and going to the crop and bringing it back down. Now the next page, we would like to have executive summary of this project. So I'll press enter multiple times to go to the next page, and I'll write executive summary, and for the same reason I'll select this line and give it a heading 1 style. And again, if I don't like, I can change it the same way as before, but I'll stick to this style for now. I'll press enter now, and automatically the style selection is normal. So this time whatever I will write will be considered as the normal text. Typically in executive summary, we write background, a paragraph on background of our project, another paragraph of what is required, few lines on how we did it, then few lines on what results we got, a couple of lines about what we concluded, and last line will be the benefits of this work, maybe to the company, to the client, or maybe to the nation or to the world, whatever is this project relevant to. Now if you notice, whenever we are on a page, we have a ruler on the top and ruler on the side. A portion of the ruler is gray and a portion is white. So gray are the margins, we cannot write anything there. But if you want to go out into the margin and want to still write something there, you will see these indent tools or icons in the ends. You can select a line, for example this one, or maybe just click this line, and for this particular line you can create a left indent if you like into the margin, or for paragraphing purpose, for example, I write a small paragraph for it. If you select a paragraph like this, again with left indent you can move the whole paragraph anywhere you like. But if you click slightly above it on the triangle and drag it, you will notice that it is indenting only the second line of the paragraph. Now this is common to do in paragraphing, something like this. So the first line starts with an indent, but all the next lines are not indented. So you can now move your paragraph with these settings if you want, and if you want to bring that first line back, you can click on this indent to move onwards. Now once you set a setting for a paragraph, for example this indent, and you are done with this paragraph and you go to next line, automatically the same settings of the previous paragraph will be used. So just to demonstrate, I copy this part and paste it multiple times to write a longer paragraph for demonstration purpose. Now we can also use the end limit of this paragraph as well. If you want 2-column paragraphs, you can select a paragraph, you can click on layout, and in columns you can select 2. So now the same paragraph, as it started from this column, it moved to that column and continued. So if you keep writing this paragraph, you will see it will keep arranging the 2 columns of equal sizes. On top of this page, you will see there is a margin area which is called header, and at the bottom of this page we also have a margin area which is called a footer. This time there is nothing in the header and footer, but let's use the footer to show page numbers. So if you double click on the bottom, you will see the footer will be selected, and it says that in our document there is only one section at the moment, and this is the section 1 of it. So all these 2 pages are in section 1. We can divide our document into multiple sections for different types of formats for it. So once we are in the footer, we can go on either head and footer tab and click on page number and choose a style of page numbering as we want. For example, at the bottom of page, maybe like this one. If you don't want this edit to be shown on the first page, you can go on the header and footer tab while working on the footer and select the option different first page. It will change the first page, as we commonly don't put page numbers on the title page, so this is useful thing to do. We can move to header by clicking this, and edit header, or we can also just simply move up and down and click on the header area to write something there. So for example, I want lintel beam design report to be mentioned here, and I simply select and italicize it with Control I and bold it as well. And as you notice, different first page is not showing it on the first page, but if I select this, it will show it up also on the first page. Now let's keep it different and let's move to the next page. So let me just press some blank enters to go to the next page, and you will see automatically the same header and same footer is being used for all the next page as well. Now if you double click on header and go in insert and in shapes, you can select line and you can draw a line below in the header. Now in the shape format, I can see that height of the line is not 0. So if you set it to 0, it will be a perfectly horizontal line. And I press enter, and if you click outside, you will see now we have a line in the header which has also changed in the previous page as well. Let me double click on the footer again to show that there is an option of same as previous and same as previous here as well. So if you are in a footer and you click link, you turn off link to previous, it will no more be linked with the first page. And if we do any change here, for example a footnote perhaps, you will notice that it is not linked with the previous page, so it is not changing, but the header is still linked with the previous page. So if you write or do any change here, for example like this, you will see this will affect all connected or previous pages. Now if you want, you can unlink it to that page and do your edits if you want, but for now let me connect the footer to the previous page as well. So now whatever is done on the previous page will be same on the coming pages. So here we'll have table of contents, and I give it a title of heading 1 as well, a style of heading 1 as well, and once this document is complete, I will create this table of content automatically. So let's move to the next page. And here I write chapter 1, introduction for example, and I would like it to have heading 1 style as well. Now here, if I want to start with section 1.1 and I press space and then write something and press enter, you will see it will start auto numbering for this list. But for now, let me select that and click on heading 2. And if I want it to have a specific style, I can always right click and modify, and then from here I can apply multiple settings to it. For example, its color, font size, and its name, which is heading 2 at the moment. So let me say OK to this, and we'll see that style has changed. If I do 1.1 here and now press enter and then press enter again and again, we'll see that we are back at normal, and we can now start writing the introduction of this chapter. Now if I go to the next topic, which is 1.2 background, for example, and give it the same style. Now if you want to create a table, for example, you can always copy a table from Excel and paste it in Microsoft Word. As a normal table, or as formatted just like as in Excel without any border lines, or even as a connected linked table as well, so that whenever you change anything in Excel, it will automatically apply the change here in Microsoft Word by giving you a warning that the Excel file has changed. Or if you can even paste it as an image, so you cannot edit the text in it. But for now, let me paste it as with the format of current Microsoft Word, not like it is in Excel. So like this, if you click on it, you will see it has two handles, one at the top and one at the bottom. You can always click on the bottom one and adjust the size of the table as for this page. You can also drag the width of the columns. You can bring your mouse on the top with this black arrow and right click and insert a column to the left or to the right of it, for example like this, and then you can keep adjusting. You can also select multiple rows and right click and merge them if you want them to represent a collection of readings here, for example. Or you can right click on any single or multiple cells, or you can right click on a single cell and select split cells to split it in any number of columns, for example 2 columns, and keeping one row, and say OK to this like this, or maybe 3 columns and 2 rows. So 3 columns and 2 rows. Clicking this will select whole of the table, and you can then format it as you like. Once you select the table, you will see 2 tabs appearing here. Clicking on table design, you can choose multiple designs of the table already available in Microsoft Word, a big variety of them, maybe this one, or in the layout you want the text to appear in a specific way, you can do that. If your table has no border lines, but you want to see the demarcation, you can go on layout and view grids. These grids will not be printed but just help you in knowing where are the limits of these cells. Let me remove this column by selecting it by clicking at the top and right click and cut. Let me distribute the whole table horizontally like this. If you click on any row outside the table like this and press enter, it will automatically add a row for you. Or if you want to add one at the end, let me undo that first of all. So you can click at the end of the last row, not inside the cell but actually outside the cell, and press enter. It will quickly add a row for you. If for some reason you want the sum of all these, the sum of all these numbers to be shown here at the bottom, for example, you can come into the table and click on this cell. In the layout you will see formula. Click on formula and then it will show you one of the basic formula of sum of above. There are multiple functions available that you can use in this table for calculation purposes. But for now, let's quickly sum that by saying OK. So now if you change anything, for example this 15 to, for example, 150, you will notice that this sum has not changed. In order to recalculate, you either select this cell and press F9. If you have a table with many formula fields, like in this we have 2, you can select the whole table and then press F9 key to update all cells if you have all formula cells if you have done any change in the table. Now let me keep selecting this table and click on home to draw a border at the most bottom and a border at the most top of this table. Also, I would like to have a border at the bottom of the first row. Let me increase the size of the font of the first row, and above this table I'll write table 1 bending moment, for example, and then Control E to center it. Let me click at the end of the table and then press enter multiple times to go to the next page. And for example, now I would like to have 2 diagrams of bending moment and shear force to be on this page, but in a landscape form. So when I'm on this page and I click on layout and click on orientation and landscape, notice that all pages with the same format for the same section have changed to landscape because we dislinked these 2 in the footer, so they are different sections. Let's double check them. So if you click on the header or the footer of one page, you will see this is a style of section 1. This is also page 1 is also section 1. This is section 1, while this is section 3 starting from here, and so on. And what we want is that only this page is landscaped while all of them are portrait. So let me click on this page. On layout, I go back and change it to portrait first of all, and then on this page. Now in order to do so, to change, click anywhere at the end of the previous page, anywhere, and then in the layout click on breaks and then continuous. Now it seems that it has done nothing, but now if you press enter a few times to go to the next page and then check the header of the next page, you will see this has become section 4 while this is section 3. Now what we can do is we can keep its format of the header and footer same as the previous, but if you select on this section, which is section 4, again notice this is a very different section compared to this one. If you are on this section and you go on layout and change the orientation from portrait to landscape, only this section 4, only this section's format will change. Only this section's layout will change. And now you can go in Excel and copy the bending moment diagram and paste it here, and you can do the same thing, for the shear force diagram as well. Now clicking at the end of this line and clicking on back arrow key and pressing enter, you can bring them on 2 different lines. You can delete on the top to bring them on 2 different levels. Pressing Ctrl E on this line will bring that to center, or you can do it by clicking on this line and from the menu you can do it center as well. Let's put a caption below it, but this time using reference insert caption for picture or object. Figure 1, for example, BMD as bending moment diagram, and for this one in the next line insert caption figure 2 shear force diagram, and OK. Let's click on this line and also Ctrl E for center and Ctrl E for center. Now let's go back to the page of table of contents, and in the reference menu click on table of contents, and we can choose the style we want, or we can make our own style as well. For now, let me select this one. So it has automatically discovered wherever the styles of heading 1, 2 and 3 are used, use them to automatically create the table of content. So for example, instead of this title, if I write acknowledgement, and I select this table, you will see that in this table here was the old title, but if you now click on update table, you will see that will change to acknowledgement automatically. Now the background is on page number 5. If you notice, here it is, and if you somehow write a lot of introduction and bring it to page number 6, and if you go back to the table of contents and right click or update field, you will see backgrounds page number from 5 will change to 6. It's asking, do we want to only update the page numbers or the whole table? So if you have only changed the position of these topics, you can only change the page numbers, but if you have also changed the titles, you better change the entire table. So for now, let me use the entire table, and you will see now its page number is 6. Because we have used the captioning method of adding titles to the figures, we can now go below the table of content maybe, and from reference insert table of figures which with the style we are interested in. For example, this one, and I say OK to this. Now the two figures listed with the page number has been created. Now if we change anything here, for example the title of BMD to diagram, for example, and we go back to this table, we can right click and update field and update entire table to update back the titles and the page numbers if they are changed. There are several other tools that we can use in Microsoft Word to create impressive documents. For example, in Smart Art, we have option to create flowcharts or similar processing lists. So go ahead and explore them. This concludes the discussion on Microsoft Word for civil engineers.